Welcome back to another video, guys. We're going to be checking in on the crew yet again down here on this Southern Ohio piece. It's a pretty big project, but wanted to kind of show you guys here. This was where they were bringing the majority of the logs down on this side of the ravine. And this creek coming down through here made quite a bit of a mess. It was just too low line. There's not a really good way to get across it. It worked for a little while. But they kind of basically cleaned it out here and then rerouted. They're coming across now to a different crossing. And so that's the type of stuff, last time I was down here, I was kind of looking at that and was afraid that, long term, if we keep coming across here, it was going to cause an issue. So, when I come out here checking on these jobs, that's the type of stuff that I'm looking for is, are we going to have problems crossing this long term? Does this need to change? Do we need to use culverts? And having cut timber myself for 10 years plus, this is stuff that I can kind of foresee happening. And so we're gonna go back up into the woods, check on the crew, see how the rest of the woods is looking. I think they have a good section of this side done, and then they'll be starting over here on this side. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. Let's go. So right here's another good example of, you got big mature timber around here, a lot of big white oaks, and just completely bare ground. There's nothing that really is able to grow here. So you end up having this wide open timber, and it just doesn't hold deer. Now I'm not saying deer won't bed in an area like this, but there can be zero pressure. So when you go to actually hunt a property like this, it makes it very difficult to access at your stand locations, and you're constantly bumping deer trying to hunt these big open hardwoods like this. Basically we're taking a lot of the bigger trees out of this area, and we're still leaving some decent sized stuff, but it's gonna bring a lot of browse to the ground. You're gonna have a lot more regeneration coming up through, and overall it's just gonna hold a lot more deer. Plus then it's staged right off of the main food source, which is down in this bottom. And so you're gonna have deer bedding up here on these knobs and working their way down to the bottom, which sets up so well to hunt. So in this section here, there was a lot of small pines standing in here, and it was pretty thick, and basically creates like a monoculture of just pines, and nothing was really using that. So we came in here, and just these pines alone, there's like very little to no value in the trees, but we leveraged the good white oak, the good timber, to be able to come in here and actually do very close to clear-cut pockets. And so we did one here that's a couple acres. We have two smaller ones up front, and these are basically staged up on these points with destination food down to the bottom. And then we're gonna have some smaller kill plots back around here close to this cover. But using that really good timber allows you to basically get rid of some of the more less desirables, but it's tough to do that if you don't have the good timber to do it with. So this project worked out really well, where they had a lot of big timber, a lot of value there, and the crew was willing to put up with cutting some of these without really getting any return out of the trees themselves, but still able to accomplish the goal of creating more bedding. So you have diversity throughout the entire property, where you have selective harvests, and then you also have a much harder harvest where it's way thicker in here. You have south facing, so you're going to have deer using this a lot more to bed. So on the way back here, heading back to the truck, we came down a different path, and they've finished reclaiming this as a section that they're not going to come back into. So they actually graded this up, and you can see here they put a water bar in. Basically what that does is, on these bigger hills, is they're diverting the water off to the side, and they'll do that every now and then coming down this hill. That way you don't have a lot of washouts whenever you get rain. They'll also be seeding this in. That way in the spring you have grass and whatnot coming up, just to keep the erosion from happening as much. You're gonna have some, but it'll take care of most of it. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out so far, but we're gonna head back to the truck and I think call it a day. I was pretty happy with the progress the crew's making. We had some bad weather there for a little while, so that held them up for some time, but they're making good progress, and I'm happy with how that clear cut turned out. It's not quite a clear cut, but you know, it's going to create a lot more cover in that area over the selective harvest sections. So like I said, happy with everything turned out. Still got quite a bit to go on this project, but it's turning out great, and I think this is going to be a pretty phenomenal hunting property when everything's said and done. So see you guys in the next one.